Hey, good morning, everybody. This is People of Substance by LemonSkies. I'm Olga Woltman, and I'm thrilled to be back after a summer hiatus. And my guest is Holly Claytor. Holly and I have known each other for a number of years through our work at Special Olympics. And Holly works at Special Olympics Virginia. She oversees marketing and communications and fundraising. Welcome, Holly.
Oh, hello. So glad to be here today with you. And we do go back a long time.
Yes. Well, speaking of long time, so Holly comes to us from Richmond. And Holly, you've been at Special Olympics Virginia for almost 2 decades. In this sector where we keep hearing about turnover and the development staff, 10 years, about 18 months, can you talk a little bit about that longevity?
Yes, hard to believe, but I just started my 18th year here. And I actually came to Special Olympics starting off in the marketing PR director space. My background is in print journalism, so I sort of worked a few years as a reporter coming out of college and then came here. In fact, actually, several people had told me about this position in different parts of my life and just felt like it was the right role for me. So I've had the chance to stay and grow and now certainly do much more than when I started, which was really focused around, PR and marketing specifically. But now I do a lot in the fundraising space and have supervision of our fundraising and marketing teams. I think longevity to me
Yes,
really...
and we can get back to the topic.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It was cutting out there for a second. No, keep going, please.
So we, I think for me, really, it's about the team here. One, I love our team here. They're like my family. And it's also just really about the chance to know athletes and families and tell their stories. Like that's where really, to me, the heart of what we do is the athletes that I've gotten to meet. They make the day worthwhile. They make the work worthwhile. So I've just continued to grow and adapt and change as we do.
And I have many questions about print journalism, and we can have a whole lengthy discussion about the state of print journalism today. So, but what I find remarkable that you're not alone in having such a long tenure at Special Olympics Virginia. Why do you think people stay so long?
Yeah, we have several people on the team who've been here for 30 years or more. I think that people here, it's every day is you meet athletes and families who are inspiring. I think they become part of your story and you become part of theirs. And there's just always, we still have so much opportunity to make change here in the space of inclusion and community. Certainly, I guess the dream of any person who works in nonprofit is that one day you'll wake up and have solved the challenge that you're trying to work through. And, but we've come a long way, but we're not there yet. So I think everyone here is really driven by wanting to spread that message of inclusion and community and share with people why it's important, and bring people into our space so they can engage and change themselves.
So you and I are both marketers, I don't know where the line is, honestly, between marketing and fundraising when it comes to nonprofit space. But communications, marketing, fundraisers tends to be sort of one step removed from mission delivery, typically, in most organizations, right? They're not the ones that are interacting with patients. They're not the ones that are delivering services. And I will say Special Olympics has a unique component because there are so many events, right? Athletic and otherwise. But how do you build connection and relationship with the mission?
I think that is definitely about being out there in our community and meeting the families, meeting the athletes. I think one of the things that when we have events all the time, practices and competitions and sports, um, trainings. So one of the things that we try to do, or I try to do in particular, is just get out of the office and go to events and meet families. Some of our largest state level events, I'm not driving the logistics of the competition, but I am there literally on the sideline, walking around and talking to families like, who's your daughter or who's your son out there? Why are you here? What has this program meant to you? And learning those stories. I always find, every event I'm blown away by the stories, especially from parents. So just really trying to stay and move around outside of this desk, which can, be hard to do sometimes with the different amounts of work, but really just, staying connected to being present, asking questions, listening.
Well, and I think a lot of times when people come to Special Olympics events, they sort of have this aha moment. Oh, I see what it's about, because you can describe it, but being kind of on that field and seeing the joy and seeing the families and cheering and celebration, I think it's one of the few truly positive and uplifting causes that I personally have encountered.
Yes, I think most people realize we do sports, and that's great. And we do, every day, all year round in every community. But, what people don't realize is it's also, that the sports make our athletes better. They're healthier, they're fitter, they're more connected. But just as much as it's about them, it's about making you better. And, you are able to learn from them. And that's a moment, like you said, an aha moment that happens. And people are like, oh, maybe next time when I'm hiring someone for my business, I could include someone with a disability. Or maybe, next time I'm sitting at the lunch table and I see someone who's not being included, I can invite them. It's also about changing you and your habits and your behaviors and being more inclusive of people who appear to be different, but aren't really different than you and me.
Yeah. I love that sports as a catalyst for change beyond the athletic fields.
Yes. Yeah. When I first started here, we had a Special Olympics as opening hearts and changing minds. And certainly we've come a long way in different messaging, but it's always been about really that same message of just really showing people the value of people. And, we do that through sports, which most people understand, at least in some capacity. You may not be a basketball player or a star soccer player, but you understand the basic element of sport. And that really kind of is a level playing field.
So let me ask you this. What are some other nonprofits that you often look to as examples or look up to as kind of best in class?
I think that so I am always drawn, I am certainly an animal lover at heart. So I'm always drawn to all the SPCA type of stories and how they manage to tell their story. So those are just maybe a personal, I follow a lot of those to see how they're sharing their stories. I really love Charity Water's work. I think it's very clear that what their mission is, to bring clean water to people. And I really like watching some of what they do in the marketing space and the outreach space. I think they really do a really great job there. So I follow them. I think probably Make-A-Wish. I like to see what they're doing. I think this, again, there's just a lot of strong emotional connection there. And they do a really good job telling the story of the wish and then, the wish coming true. So I think those are a couple, I'm bringing impact to people. I like to see how people, marketing in that space, how people do that and how we can, take ideas from that and learn how to do it better here.
Make-A-Wish is such a good example because it clearly has this, not before and after per se, but there's sort of this very tangible, happy ending in kind of telling the story when the wish is fulfilled. So there's really something compelling. Do you think some causes, just by their nature, are more compelling than others? and some causes, you kind of have to be very intellectual about it.
Yes, I think so. I think Make-A-Wish, like you said, is there's a start and sort of a finish there that shows impact. Charity Water, I think, is similar. Bringing clean water, and then here we did this. We delivered this much. Very easy to see the difference there. I think for us, I feel like sometimes that just being able to deliver the sport and being able to see that in a real live space and a celebration makes it a little bit easier for us to share. I think sometimes people might think we're sad, or be unsure about like what to expect, or I haven't had interactions with these types of people, with disabilities before. So what do I do? That's where I feel like some nonprofits have a sad element to them, and that's not at all what we drive to share. Like, we're not sad. We're a really happy place with incredible athletes with incredible personalities. And so, I think that helps us drive a little bit of our message. We're very positive. It's never about, oh, the playing fields are empty, so you need to support. It's really about look at the excitement and energy and what you can learn from someone who seems to be a little different than you.
Yeah, it never feels formative to me, right? Like whether, of course, the cheers and celebration are exciting and lovely, but every athlete I've ever encountered, there's kind of completely devoid of trying to impress, right? Like they're there to prove to themselves. They're not there to kind of impress or win a popularity contest. Just this sense of being self-contained, which I find really compelling.
Yeah, and I think too, being able to show like the impact of Special Olympics. Of course, they're going to run a race and they're going to finish, and hopefully, they're going to get a gold medal. But it's so much more than just that moment. One of my favorite stories is Pam Mines on our staff here has a son, JP, who's 21 now, but I think is when I remember the story from her, he was like an elementary school student, and he had just gotten involved in Special Olympics. And he, prior to that, whenever he had a birthday celebration, it was his family, his mom and his dad and his aunts and his uncles and, his sister. And then once he got involved in Special Olympics, he could invite people from Special Olympics, like his team, to his birthday party. So he never had beyond the family connection. He never knew what that looked like. And so at his first birthday party with his friends from Special Olympics, they all got together, and they don't even know what like this concept of a birthday party is, with goodie bags and games, and they've never been to something like that because they've never been included before in that way. And so they didn't even know how to greet one another. So they all like did their basketball cheer when they got in the door, like go team. And then, fast forward to today, and now like they know what to do. Like they've got friends, they're being included differently in their social circles, and they high five when they get there, and what's up, bro? They just didn't, in the beginning, they didn't know, like beyond their family, what community was out there. And so Special Olympics brought them that space. So it's, of course they play basketball together, but it's also about this building of, community, going forward.
Yeah, and that's actually what's often overlooked, because we think of young kids playing sports, but it goes so much beyond. And actually, once you're outside of that, school structure, and where mom and dad are doing everything with you to kind of create a space to find connection, to find a community.
Yeah, I think the parents find community too. They come into the program, and there's an understanding among all the families about the challenges that they face. Maybe not in the same way, but certainly just like this underlying current of, we don't have to explain to you what this life is like. Sometimes it is difficult. And so they find the community there. And, that builds, it's not just about their son or daughter playing sports, but, they're finding friends and space and understanding too.
Yeah. So Holly, in your time with the organization, again, as we said, you're going on 18 years now. Has there been any changes in outside of the organization itself in how people with intellectual disabilities are treated and viewed? Have you observed any shifts? Hopefully in a positive direction, but
Yeah,
I want to
I
hear what
definitely
you have
think
to say.
so. Yeah, I think we started, when I first started, we were just getting engaged in our school programming. And so I think that's been, I think we're in year 17. So, 1 year after I started, we really started to focus on school age athletes. And that was, for many reasons, but the population is kind of contained and easier to reach in a space like a school. But also our athletes were getting older. And so that was a chance for us to sort of engage at a younger age level. But the school program in particular is, we're in Virginia, more than 600 schools promoting inclusion through sports and through school awareness like pep rallies or, inclusion weeks and leadership. And I think that's where I've seen, I would say, such great change. Students are really learning that, and they're really receptive to learning that at an early age. Sometimes it's hard to change, late in life, but they're really hungry for that, and they're including students with disabilities. Like it's not anything like unnatural for them. They're really doing that every day, and the school space is really it's great to see. And we're seeing athletes and students come out of that program now, now that graduating and moving into college and starting clubs at their college where they're promoting inclusion. And we've even had some come back from being involved in our school programming and apply for jobs here because I love the mission so much. So I really do feel like we're making an impact in the schools, and then just the students are carrying that with them forward. And that's where someone will come into it hopefully and say, oh, I might hire someone, or I might start a program at my church that it's focused on people with disabilities and inclusion. You're seeing that kind of spread more. So I do think it's changing. Still have work to do.
Fair. Well, I think it's so true. Kind of those early experiences, even if you don't become a champion, just evening the playing field a little bit in how you view somebody who's different.
It just becomes, my children. I have two children, and they were both born during my work time here, and I think now they come to events with me, and they're volunteering and they're engaging, and it's just sort of their normal. It's not something they're going out of their way to do. Like they're just like, these are my friends. They see the same athletes time and time again, and they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long, and it's just become what they do and part of their life. It's not something they have to try to think about.
Yeah, that's one way to do succession planning, right? Hire people, keep people for a really long time, and have them bring their children so they grow up in the organization.
Yes, true.
Holly, you mentioned animal organizations. What are some causes or issues that you yourself outside of work really passionate or involved with?
I mean, it's hard to find a lot of time outside of work these days, but
sure.
I do. I mean, I think I do. I've always, have a heart for animals. So I think those stories and I have friends who work in the nonprofit space. And so always definitely looking to support that. I have dogs myself. I don't know, just drawn to that type of story. I mean, I'm pretty active in my faith and my church. So looking to see how we can grow community there, I think has been important to me. We partner with a church in town that is a primarily Black community. And so bringing our two communities together has been really exciting to see how we can come together and do different work in the community around inclusion. So inclusion, obviously here in my work with disabilities, but also inclusion in that space has been really gratifying.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Holly, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. It's been a pleasure knowing you for many years, and I'm excited to continue seeing you at all the events, and hopefully others will join us and show up at summer games or tournaments, or show up to coach or just to cheer for a few minutes. Welcome everybody.
Yes, I agree. I think just being able to come out and see really is a turning point moment. You realize everyone has a gift, and so not being afraid to see that and recognize that. So come be part of us.
Come be part of us. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.